What is the most iconic car in your mind with the brand? I think of Gallardo when I think of the word Lamborghini. There was always the talk of the baby Lambo. There was a concept that they used to talk about. They rolled forward with Diablo and morphed that into Murcielago. And then in 2003, they brought out Gallardo. Good morning, here we are in Dublin talking about Lamborghini's end of production car, the Performante. To have a 100% appreciation of this car, I wish we had the original Gallardo next to it so you could see all of the changes that have gone on in the 10-year run of this car. It looks like a totally different automobile with the enlarged nose, with the air intakes, the extensive use of carbon fiber on the inside and the outside of the car with the trim. And this whole deal right here, LP 570-4, which tells you what the car is. LP is longitudinal posterior, which means that the engine is sitting in the back of the car, going like that. Of course, the 4 is the 4-wheel drive. As you come back around to the back of the car, again, you see some things that just have not changed on the car, but this whole beautiful restyle of the back of the car with the new lights, the new exhaust, carbon fiber lower trim, carbon fiber strakes underneath the bumper. The evolution of the Gallardo was really fabulous. You saw one car that came out in 2004 in America, modifications in 2008, further modifications in 2010 with the final build models of the Performante, whether it was the Coupe or the Spider. Beautiful work. The biggest selling Lamborghini ever with over 14,000 units. Just looking at one element of the car with the wheels and the calipers. As everything evolved with the brand, you got into lighter weight materials. They took quite a few pounds out of the Performante and the Superleggera before it by lightening the design of the wheels themselves. Different paint colors, obviously. Calipers, huge. Big brakes, great brakes. Love the brakes on the car. Settling of the car, it's sitting in the normal position right now. You can also put it into a raised position. This was one of the first cars I ever saw to have the raised front end, which they brought out in 2005. Okay, so looking at the inside of the car, again, the design is very, very similar to the original car, but the materials are different because as we look around the inside of the car, you can see how their goal of taking 100 kilograms out of the car was reached, because the design's pretty much the same. The door panels look like the door panel on the original car, but it's all made out of carbon fiber. The door pull is a leather strap, and actually it's not even leather, it's Alcantara, because Alcantara is lighter than leather. So all the leather was taken out of the inside of the car, replaced with Alcantara to save weight. A lot of carbon fiber, and Lamborghini certainly has the rights to use carbon fiber. They've been doing it since the 60s. Alcantara steering wheel with the carbon fiber structure, instrument panel done in carbon fiber, our auxiliary gauges up on the dash, carbon fiber bezel. Down in the middle we have our modes of transmission with sport, automatic, and Corsa, our windows, and of course we have the button to raise and lower the suspension, which is certainly a great innovation that I saw in these cars for the very first time. So the driver's view, we have our lights, our downshift paddle, our upshift paddle, the ignition switch. We have the engine water temperature, tachometer, general view of warning lights with display, your view for gasoline, gauges up here in the front show you the oil pressure, oil temperature, and battery level. We've got a lot of nice little vents for heat. You come over here to the center, you've got the infotainment system with navigation and CD. So everything's a good quick view, everything's right in the driver's view. So we're in an industrial park in Dublin, Ohio, and it's winter, and unfortunately we don't have 100% grip on the tires because the pavement is really cold. But I'm going to show you a little bit of what we can do here without putting ourselves in a traction tenuous situation. or to do anything that the Dublin police wouldn't be happy to see. So if this doesn't make you excited, if this doesn't make your heart beat any faster, then it probably doesn't matter, because guess what? You're probably already dead. I'm gonna raise up the suspension here, coming into our driveway, give us a little bit of advantage for climbing the hill here. Okay, we're back home. The baby bull. Last generation, the Performante LP 570-4, circling around the lot. God, what an incredible car. I mean, honestly, if this doesn't float your boat, you're doomed. Nothing feels like this car. And guess what we're gonna come up against right up here? The second most produced Lamborghini ever, the Urus. They just built their 10,000th car. The one we're in, they built 14,000 of, so the Gallardo, in any of its forms, is the most produced of all Lamborghinis. Parked next to the latest and greatest, the Urus. Nothing like a day in February to drive around a convertible with the top down. Anything that we've said about the Lamborghini today, you really, to be able to appreciate it, should know just a little bit about the history of the car. Some of it is myth, maybe. Some of it is truth. There's the old story about how Mr. Lamborghini, as he started to make money liking cars, he had a couple Ferraris, but he wasn't really 100% happy with the cars. So he approached Enzo Ferrari about making an improvement in his clutches, at which point Mr. Ferrari was allegedly said to Mr. Lamborghini, you stick to making tractors and let me make Ferraris. So he said, okay, so the story goes, I'll make my own car. In a very short period of time, he came up with a car that was called the 350 GTV. It was a one-off car. It was introduced at an auto show in Italy, put together in about 4 months. I'm not so sure the engine was actually in the car, but the engine had been created by Bizzarini. That engine, which finally became part of a production car in 1963, remained in Lamborghini in one form or another till 2010. So as things developed and they came through with Countaches and Diablos, there was always the talk of the baby Lambo. There was a concept that they used to talk about. Nobody ever said what it was, but they always inferred that eventually there was going to be a baby Lambo. Well, after things got straightened out and Volkswagen Group came in and wrote a check for $25 million and bought Lamborghini, they went ahead with the baby Lambo program. And then in 2003, they brought out Gallardo. The Gallardo was a phenomenal car, a much better price point. The handling was incredible. The power was there. It was a little louder initially. They actually quieted it down a little bit when they made some major modifications to the car in 2006. Baby Lambo was finally there with Gallardo. The Performante that we've been so lovingly displaying today being their final version. So iconic, yes, it made an identifiable product to so many people who really never knew what Lamborghini was. I've used the word iconic to describe the car, and it really put Lamborghini on the map because they only sold in a few countries. Europe, England, United States. They never sold cars in Africa, South America, Asia. A few very wealthy people may have directly imported them, but there was no dealer network. But with Gallardo, they were able to branch in to other places on the planet. You'll see them in Malaysia, you'll see them in Thailand, you'll see them in Japan, Russia, China, Brazil, Mexico. So that really, I think you can say, put the brand on the map because it literally took it all over the map.